Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for your participation today. Not taking too much time, let's get straight to the point. And I'm glad we are together today, and I hope that at the end of this first webinar in a series dedicated to the topic of NIS2 and DORA, you will find relevant for you, generate question that we'll be happy to take it by the end of the session. So today I'm with Paul, Netop Sales Director, AWS Partner, and I'm Lavinia, AWS Senior Territory Manager. I'll start with a short intro, providing a little context regarding today's topic, NIS2 and DORA, how AWS and our partner can bring value for you, efforts to be compliant, to be more relevant, and more important, to strengthen your security posture, which will bring you more business benefits in front of your end customer. So as you can see on these slides, most of us, I think we already know that since end of November 2022, the EU approved the new NIS2 directive, which provide for obligation in the field of cybersecurity with a deadline to integrate and provision all this legal system of 21 member states by October last year. Regarding NIS regulation, and this year, January, for DORA. All mid-sized and large organizations operating in the sectors presented in the slide, as well as companies that meet the specific criteria, will be covered by this new NIS2 and DORA directive. And as a result, a very large number of enterprises are now obliged to observe the security measure laid down in the directive and are subject to certain reporting obligation. If your business operating or through EU, you'll have a crucial cybersecurity milestone to meet. Moving forward, the coverage of NIS2 expanded, as you see it, from the critical, essential to important entities, over 105 type of services falling under this new obligation, more than 18 sectors, from energy to transport, but more important, digital infrastructure, ICT services, public administration, and so on. So today we don't want to debate this regulation and associated sanctions, because there are huge financial penalties, but also reputation damage. So we wanted to cover if applied to your company, and if so, how to prepare yourself, not only as an obligation, but also in your day-to-day activity. So the goal, it is to reduce the risk of cyber attack, to increase the trust between the customer and partners, and to evaluate the performance of the security level of your environment, to improve it, and of course to prove it. So you'll see that in the next slide, Amazon offer a range of services and tools that support the customer in adoption of NIS2 requirements. And if you move on with the slides to have the full picture of it, you'll see that there are different type of approach on this shared responsibility model, depending on the customer choice. So it is something from more customized, but more customer responsibility, to less customized, to less customer responsibility, which include more best practices that we built in the infrastructure. So AWS is your guide to understand and execute the best practices, to manage and reduce the security risk, and also to protect your network and data using and built by our experts, security, identity, compliance, all this stuff. Okay, you needed to put that in place. You have all the tools what you needed, but you needed also to prove it. So you can see into the next slide that we provide global standards. We are working with a global regulatory, so the customer are rely on us. You inherit the most comprehensive compliance control with AWS. We have more than 143 security standards and compliance certificates from PCI to GDPR and so on. And also the governments around the world have accredited AWS to run their highest classified workloads. Also, into the next slide, you will see that we will put at your disposal a huge number of documents. AWS Artifacts, it is your go-to central resources for compliance-related information that matters to you. Also, we have a compliance center offering central location to research cloud-related regulator requirements. Currently has summarized for 57 countries and more to come as regulatory guidelines evolve around the world. Also, in the next slide, you will have also more source resources in our AWS Security Center, a comprehensive security portal, which provide a variety of security information, documentation, topics like vulnerability reporting, penetration, white papers, and so on. Having all this in place, for sure, you need support to implement it, all those requirements, if you don't have already in-house expertise. So we are here to support you together with our large community of security partner and solution marketplace, everything that you already seen in these slides. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is our first from the webinar series with the partner offering to drive NIS and DORA requirements and challenges. And as you know, under the NIS, organization must strengthen cybersecurity across their entire supply chain, including the third-party relationship. So in the next 15-20 minutes, Paul will cover this topic, presenting one of these cases. So thank you so much. If you have any question at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A session. But now, Paul, the mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lavinia. And thanks for the first slides. And I highly recommend everyone watching the webinar to go onto the security area of the AWS website. Lavinia highlighted in one of the slides somewhere towards the end of her part of the presentation. It's a really, really strong argument to go with AWS services. Security of cloud services provided by AWS is extremely critical, extremely important. And I haven't seen a single customer of ours choosing Netop without thoroughly reading that part from the AWS website. So our recommendation is to go read. There's a lot of content, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of guidelines, there's a lot of best practices, and there's a lot of cybersecurity hygiene. And this is a freshly new term, which I see the European Union likes to use when it comes to cybersecurity in general. And I highly recommend you go on that part of the website. Now, speaking Netop, you see in this intro slide, Netop Remote Control is the the global leader of secure remote access of everything, essentially. Now you see in this slide, and there will be this leitmotif of my presentation, there's a bunch of devices here on the right-hand side, as diverse as they can be. We wanted to depict a high diversity of devices, from laptops, desktops, to a train, to a robotic arm, to an ATM, to an antenna, to a POS device, and to a ship, a vessel on the sea. In fact, it's pretty interesting. We have a use case with vessels and ships on the sea here, right here in the presentation, but you'll see it later. And then Netop providing access to these devices to people. So essentially, when we talk Netop, we talk people here on the left-hand side needing remote access capabilities to devices. And devices are various, diverse, very different. And then the people, they are as diverse as possible. And when I say that, I mean from all sorts of geographical locations, all sorts of countries, essentially everywhere in the world. And NetOp on AWS provides these capabilities to allow people from everywhere in the world to remote control into devices from everywhere in the world, which are in the environment of that particular organization. Now I'll jump straight into a quick demo because I want you to see exactly what this means. I want you to pinpoint exactly what a secure remote access session means. So I'm in the platform, which is NetOp run on AWS. And you see here in the My Devices sections, I have a couple of devices for demonstration purposes, and we'll take one of them. And I'm going to remote control exactly at this device. And you'll see immediately here in the screen, it's going to start it's going to open up a new browser tab, and inside the browser tab, bam, you get access remotely to that device. So right now I could be anywhere in the world, and this device could be anywhere in the world, and via AWS infrastructure and NetOp, you have a functional remote access session. I'm operating on this machine as if I'm in front of it, but the whole point of the platform is not to be in front of it, to be as far away as possible and acting or operating remotely on this machine. You see, I can do, I don't know, settings. I mean, here for the demonstration purposes, I'll do just a basic Firefox browser, but that's obviously not why you will want to remote access into your infrastructure. You will want to do much more smarter stuff. Oh, I see. I love this part. It's the part where I'm doing maintenance and I'm doing troubleshooting of this device remotely. See, Firefox just wants to get updated. I didn't anticipate this one. So now Firefox is going to obviously update on this machine. Um, that's pure. I love that Firefox wants to update right now, right here, because this is a live demonstration of what you can do remotely, and what NetOp provides you via our platform hosted on AWS global platform. Now I'm actually curious to see what Firefox wants to do on this device now, right now. Okay, so we got updated. Job done. Sounds good. We can stop the session obviously now. Yeah, right. Firefox wants to be the default browser, not now. So I'm going to stop the Firefox session, of course, and I'm going to stop the remote access session, and I'm going to show you something very interesting and very unique. You see here in the screen, there's a pretty nice, cool blue logo here that says Intel AMT. This is a unique capability that NetApp provides that gives you remote access to um, BIOS screen or to BIOS commands directly at the Intel chip. So you see here already in this screen that one of these devices is capable of Intel vPro remote access, and then that NetOp provides via our integration with Intel capabilities to start this BIOS screen. But I will show you in a video because we have a prepared video here with a presentation. I think on full screen will be a bit nicer. Now you see here the same screen, same demonstration platform where my colleague here in the video is starting an AMT remote session towards a Intel chip. This is super powerful to see. Surprise here in this session, this device is actually at the blue screen level. So this is one big use case where you need this capability to remote access into the BIOS of the other devices, is to take care or to troubleshoot crashed operating systems remotely at the distance via cloud. You see, the whole infrastructure and the whole NetOp infrastructure run on AWS cloud is the one being used here. You see, there's the individual here in the demonstration has the power actions. These are direct power actions at the BIOS at the Intel processor chip level. And now the individual is going to move on and is going to start a reset to BIOS. Obviously, the device is crashed. Obviously, there's a blue screen. So obviously, this is the most powerful remote troubleshooting below the operating system that they're capable to do with NetOp. And once this is going to be reboot to BIOS or reset to BIOS, you'll see immediately that the device will restart, and they will be able to start full KVM, full keyboard, video, and mouse control of the BIOS screen and performing BIOS commands, BIOS actions, BIOS everything at the Intel processor level. This feature is super powerful. I will stop the video right now because I think we reached the purpose of this Intel demonstration. Super critical, super powerful feature. I have another slide which almost summarizes the whole idea of Intel AMT remote access. Uh, NetOp provides you this feature included in the platform for very far away, very distant remote access to the BIOS. Now, let's move on to NIS2 and DORA. And why is this relevant? Now, you probably got the point already, but let's define a little bit on the NIS2 EU directive and the cybersecurity of the digital supply chain. Now, the directive itself is called or has a big part that is related to cybersecurity of the digital supply chain. And DORA includes that as well. So translated into real life use case, into real life scenario, what does this mean? This means that typical use cases where you externalize some IT services, where you have some supplier, some contractor, there's a plethora of terminology in the industry. You can call them external consultants. You can call them managed service providers. You can call them third-party providers. You can call them business process outsourcing services. We try to give some examples here on the left of typical scenarios where you are externalizing, where you are subcontracting IT digital services, and you need them to be NIS2 compliant, because essentially that's what NIS2 aligns towards. They want you to cybersecurity fortify your IT digital supply chain, which means the plethora of subcontractors or the plethora of external people that remote into your infrastructure, remote into your devices for various sorts of operations. And keep in mind, these operations are so diverse, and the devices are so diverse, and the people are so diverse. You will have to, from diverse locations, you will see exactly in some examples that we have forward. A couple of customers that are using NetOp successfully, and some of them are impacted by NIS2 and DORA, and all of them that have been impacted by NIS2 and DORA already addressed us, and they already asked us how NetOp is capable to attend to the NIS2 and DORA certification programs, and we already responded to them, which of course we can do the same towards you. We have pretty extensive white papers and pretty extensive documentation to do that. But let's go on some examples. I like talking about customers, live customers, existing customers, use cases where you can understand exactly why they need NetOp and for what, and what kind of devices they need to control, and why is this relevant for NIS2 in the first place. Now, take a look at a gas station, fuel station, charging station, however you want to call it, retail chain of one of our biggest customers, Total Energy. Now, you may wonder what kind of equipment you need to remote control. I mean, seriously, what are you going to control in a gas station? Well, there's a whole bunch of things you are going to remote control in a gas station, and believe me, that's only an extract. Now you see here post devices, fuel dispenser, tank gauges, vending machines, back office systems, coupon validation, car wash controllers. You may want to wash your car in a gas station. Now that car wash equipment needs to be remotely controlled. So here on the left side, you see the people that need to remote control these devices are from everywhere. Now I try to put some country flags that respect the exact geographic location of our project, and I didn't have enough room. So this is only probably 20 plus country flags, and this the project is aligned for 100 plus countries, and the people that are need to remote control into all sorts of devices are from everywhere. I like to point out a pretty nice flag here, French Polynesia, which are friends from Tahiti. They remote control from the middle of the Pacific the infrastructure of Total Energy gas station and petrol stations. Everything that you see here listed on the right hand side can be remotely controlled by their suppliers and their subcontractors. NIS2 compliant with NetOp. Another project example is Novo Nordisk, our customer doing diabetes medication and weight loss control medication. This is a factory location in Czechia, but in reality, they use NetOp for 20 plus factory locations pretty much everywhere in the world. And then example goes on and on. Like, what kind of equipment? What would they remote control? Now, there's a whole bunch of equipment that is running in a manufacturing location, and you see here robotic systems, robotic arms. You see here mold monitors. You see here material handling equipment, injection mold, etc. These are slang. This is the jargon of, or these are the equipment that these guys are using. The factory of Novo Nordisk is using, and they need people to remote control into these machines via NetOp. Now, the people will also be from everywhere. Now, most of them are from Europe, but you probably recognize a lot of European Union flags. But they will, trust me, they will literally be from everywhere. There's locations all around the world where people, and these are live locations where subcontractors and their IT digital supply chain need to remote control into all these devices while being NIS2 compliant. And the third one, let's talk about some nice food on our plates, which is called salmon. How about some salmon fishing use case here, where Cermaq, our big customer, operating 30-40% of the global salmon fishing industry all around the world, primarily in the high Arctic region or in the down south in the Antarctica region. Everything that puts a salmon piece of fish on our plate is being remotely controlled on a global scale with Netop while being NIS2 compliant. Now you are already got the point. You already see all the devices and all the diverse type of devices that are present here in this installation via Netop on AWS, and people from all over the world, including down south like Chile and Argentina, or up north like Canada, Norway, Iceland, and all those other countries that are depicted here. They will remote control the infrastructure via NetOp while being NIS2 compliant. This is the supply chain. This is supply chain in action. This is IT digital supply chain in action. This is NIS2 in action. You need to cybersecurity. You need to cyber fortify your remote access practice. Now, we have some guidelines on your next steps. Now, of course, these are just NetOp guidelines related to the cybersecurity of your supply chain. So our advices or our methodology recommendation is the following. We have 3 steps project. Step 1, we recommend you define your list of suppliers. Keep in mind, NIS2 is about cybersecurity of your supply chain. So number 1, you need to determine which is your supply chain. Now there's a plethora of mechanisms to collect your list of suppliers: accounting, purchasing, contracting, legal. We won't get into the details. You will have your own situation in your company. The the idea here is to make sure you touch every single supplier that you have and include them in your NIS2 project, let's say, start. The second thing, you need to determine your digital equipment list. Now, this is where it gets super, super interesting, because everything that has a silicon in your company is part of the NIS2 compliance legislation. So the legislation doesn't make any distinction between a laptop, a desktop, a train, a robotic arm, a medical facility or medical device like a CT scanner, a fishing infrastructure, automation line, or a packaging line. Everything is needs to included. So you absolutely need to traverse every single device that you have into an environment, as small as a laptop or a desktop or a let's say phone, and as large and as critical as a sensor or a medical equipment or an ATM or a point of sale machine or an automation line or etc. All your devices need to be included in the NIS2 project. And this is the essence of the legislation. The essence of the legislation essentially states that you need to cybersecurity fortify your remote access to everything in your environment, from critical to semi-critical to non-critical, or you may believe it's non-critical, but legislation says it is critical. Now, having these 2 steps ready, step 3 is to start mapping. And in the mapping phase, we have let's say 2 rounds. We recommend you do round 1 as a supplier centric mapping, where you go and you start to ask each single supplier of yours what kind of digital services they are doing. Now, in this phase, you can remove some of your suppliers which they don't do any digital services. Obviously, it may be let's say a no-brainer that a furniture supplier may not do any digital services. Okay, it may be the same that a transport services supplier may not do any digital services, but be very, very aware that a lot of your suppliers which you believe they don't do digital services, by doing this part of the project, you will determine that they do digital services. And we had a lot of situations like a building automation, a building management company was doing remote access into the building automation equipment. And that particular company was not aware that their building management supplier is a digital services supplier that need to be included in the NIS2 project. This way, by doing this, you make sure you don't leave any single supplier out of the project scope that should be in the project scope. Now, phase 2, device centric, you do essentially the same thing mirror wise. You go on each device and you try to determine which device is accessed remotely from outside of your network. Now, you'll be extremely surprised that a lot of remote access is happening these days, because this is the way the world works today. And you will also be surprised that some of the individuals that are performing remote access are not your employees, but are your contractors, and therefore they are part of the NIS2 project, because they are your digital supply chain. And then phase 3 is you do the mapping. The mapping is in fact super important, and the leitmotif with this architecture or this drawing is here again. You will pretty clearly define which devices needs to be controlled by who from everywhere in the world via Netop on AWS. And last but not least, after or during the process, contact us. We are available to talk to you. We are available to guide you. We are available to provide you white papers and supporting materials. And we are available to deliver your secure remote access project, whether it's NIS2 related, whether it's DORA related. That's a much more niche directive, which is aligned to the financial sector. We're available on the marketplace. We encourage you to go on the marketplace and ask us and contact us and get in touch with us. We'll do your project related to your cybersecurity fortification of the supply chain. This being said, we're ready for questions and hopefully we'll be able to answer them.
Yeah, thank you for all this information. Very interesting, and we. For the audience, we just wanted to give you a glimpse of one of the NIS requirement regarding this supply chain third-party relationship. But yeah, let's take the question because we already have one. I will stop here the recording and moving into the Q&A session.